New tonight, Dallas native and Olympic gold medalist Sha'Carri Richardson is facing possible legal trouble. Police arrested her Sunday afternoon at the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport.
Olympic gold medalist Sha'Carri Richardson. Of course, she was arrested back on July 27th at an airport in Seattle for the Sha'Carri pushing Christian Coleman, her, by the way, superstar track sprinter himself, boyfriend, repeatedly over like a minute-plus period.
So, Sha'Carri Richardson didn't just get suspended, she got erased from Team USA. No warning, no sympathy, just, you're done. And the reason? A leaked uncut video that shows exactly what happened with her boyfriend at the airport and why the league says this is the final straw. But here's where things get messy. People are now wondering who's lying, Sha'Carri or her boyfriend Christian, because in the video, they're in the middle of an airport. He's visibly trying to walk away, and she's shoving him, pushing him, even swatting at him. In broad daylight, in front of security cameras, in front of families with kids. And remember, this is Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. You can't sneeze in that place without being caught on 10 cameras. Now, most of us are afraid to even record ourselves in public. But Sha'Carri, she was so heated, so out of control, she did it right there in front of everyone. And this is the moment the world stopped looking at her as America's comeback sprinter and started asking if she just destroyed everything she's ever worked for.
Shocking footage shows the moment Olympic gold medalist Sha'Carri Richardson shoves her boyfriend at an airport. It comes following her dramatic arrest last month.
Sha'Carri Richardson, the Olympic silver medalist who once sprinted her way into global fame, has been arrested for allegedly putting her hands on her boyfriend while they were trying to catch a flight. That boyfriend? None other than fellow sprinter Christian Coleman. It was supposed to be a routine day at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, but what unfolded turned into a viral moment that has the world talking. Sha'Carri Richardson, one of the brightest stars in American track and field, found herself not on the starting line of a race, but in the middle of a confrontation that ended in handcuffs, tears, and accusations that could alter her career forever. On Wednesday, body cam footage was released of Richardson's arrest following a heated DV altercation with her boyfriend, fellow sprinter Christian Coleman. What the footage revealed was a raw, unfiltered glimpse into the unraveling of a relationship under pressure and a very public fall from grace for an Olympic champion whose fiery personality has always commanded headlines.
Sha'Carri Richardson, have no problem with letting you know who I am, having put my hands on him. We had an argument. I will be honest about that, an argument, and that's pretty much it.
The footage begins with Richardson visibly agitated, her voice sharp and cutting as she addresses both police officers and Coleman himself. In the chaos, she doesn't hesitate to put her emotions into words. "This is the position that Christian puts me into," she declares, pointing the finger at her boyfriend as the source of her distress. "Because he's a coward, and I don't want anything to do with him from this point going forward." The words sting, but Richardson doesn't hold back. Looking directly at the police officer, she identifies herself with defiance. "My name is Sha'Carri Richardson. Have no problem with letting you know who I am. Haven't put my hands on him. We had an argument. I will be honest about that." The officer, remaining calm, takes her identification before moving on to question Coleman. But Richardson can't resist, turning her fury directly towards him. "But yeah, you're a coward," Richardson said, now turning to talk to her boyfriend. "You're an effing coward. I will never F with you again." In those moments, her pain and anger weren't just personal, they were broadcast for the world to see through the lens of a body camera. As the situation escalated, officers made the decision to arrest Richardson. One officer, his voice steady, tells her, "You're under arrest for A." Richardson then denied A-ing him, when another officer said, "We have video cameras," referencing the surveillance footage later released that showed Richardson shoving Coleman multiple times, even once forcefully pushing him into a wall as he tried to walk away. Her anger now turns into desperation. She yells at Coleman as officers place her in handcuffs. "Christian, are you serious right now? Christian, I am going to go to jail because of you right now." The gold medalist, who has always prided herself on strength and resilience, suddenly looks vulnerable, her voice breaking under the weight of the reality hitting her.
I don't have a car. I had a layover. Are you serious right now? Are you dead right now? And I have to stay in jail overnight for this?
As she got put into the back of the police car, asking if she could take her handcuffs off, but officers deny her request, and she began crying. The moment grows more painful as she is escorted into the back of a police car. "My name is Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't have anything on me. Can you please take these off? I am not a criminal. I had an argument with my boyfriend.
My name is Sha'Carri Richardson.
Do you have any weapons on you?
No, I don't have anything. You can see my hat off. I don't have anything on me.
So I'm just giving you a transport vehicle.
Can
She's
you
gonna.
please these off?
Unfortunately, not, ma'am.
I'm
At this
not
point,
a
I know that, but
I'm
unfortunately,
not
now
criminal.
you're
I had an
violating the
argument
law.
with my boyfriend.
You take a seat in front.
You know what? I'm not resisting y'all. I'm gonna sit in the car. This is y'all not even listening to me.
Her cries echo in the footage as she begs to have the handcuffs removed, but officers stand firm. For Richardson, who has battled public scrutiny before, this was a breaking point that played out in real time before cameras. For Richardson, this arrest is just the latest chapter in a turbulent career filled with both triumph and controversy. At just 25, she has already cemented her place in track and field history with blistering speed and unforgettable performances. But her off-the-track controversies, from suspensions to public feuds, have often stolen the spotlight. This incident adds fuel to the fire. The body cam footage doesn't just show an argument, it shows a superstar at her most vulnerable, caught in the kind of scandal that sparks debates without accountability, relationships, and the pressures of fame. One of the most striking moments of the footage comes back to that word, coward. Richardson repeats it multiple times, directing it at Coleman with venom. To some, it reflects deep personal betrayal, a sign of a toxic relationship coming apart in public. To others, it raises questions about whether Richardson's anger crossed a line, not just emotionally, but physically.
Because he's a coward, and I don't want anything to do with him at this point going forward. My name is Sha'Carri Richardson. Have no problem with letting you know who I am, having put my hands on him.
It's a word that will likely follow Coleman too, as his silence during the altercation has left fans wondering what role he played and whether Richardson's accusations have deeper roots. The conversation about double standards in DV cases quickly gained traction, with even media figures like Charlemagne the God weighing in on the debate. Charlemagne isn't letting this one slide. While Sha'Carri Richardson's fans rushed to accept her apology after her recent DV arrest, the outspoken host of The Breakfast Club says the reaction exposes a clear double standard. On Tuesday's episode of the popular New York City morning show, Charlemagne and his co-host, Lauren LaRosa, broke down Richardson's apology video. LaRosa commended the track star for facing the situation head-on, saying it showed maturity and accountability.
When she posted this video last night, I was like, oh wow, she's so we've been growing with her throughout her career, and this is one of those moments where we're growing with her through something that we saw happen in real time.
But Charlemagne quickly pushed back, arguing that people were being far too forgiving, something he believes wouldn't happen if the roles were reversed. I respect the fact that she acknowledged her behavior, but I just want the record to show it's a double standard, he said. Because if a man did something like that in an airport and then turned around and just did a little video like that, y'all would be dragging him to hell. His point is sharp. Athletes and celebrities accused of similar actions, especially men, often face harsher criticism, public shaming, and career consequences regardless of apology.
But I just want the record to show it is a double standard, because if a man did something like that in the airport and then turned around and just did a little video like that, y'all him to hell
Crazy.
right now.
Yet in Richardson's case, the swift acceptance of her statement seems to highlight how differently the public treats women in the spotlight compared to men. Charlemagne's take adds a new layer to the ongoing debate about Richardson's situation. Is the public giving her grace because of her past struggles and comeback story? Or are they applying standards unevenly based on gender? Either way, the conversation is far from over. But here's the thing, this isn't the first time Sha'Carri has flirted with disaster. In fact, if you look back, it almost feels inevitable. Remember 2020? She tested positive for THC, that infamous suspension, the Tokyo Olympics slipping through her fingers, the counseling program, the 30-day ban, and the heartbreak of missing the 100 meters, the event she was built for. And just when she thought she might still run the women's 4x100 relay, boom, she was axed from that too. At the time, there was outrage. Fans said the punishment didn't fit the crime. After all, cannabis? It's legalized almost everywhere now. But USADA made one thing clear. This wasn't about the weed. This was about behavior, a pattern. Behind the scenes, teammates had complained about her attitude. Coaches said she lacked respect for authority. Officials described her as uncoachable. Those weren't isolated issues, they were puzzle pieces. And when you put them together, they painted the picture of an athlete on the edge. Sha'Carri Richardson's rise has been unstoppable until that moment. She was on the brink of becoming America's new sprint queen, electrifying crowds with her speed and her flair. But behind the glittering nails and the fiery orange hair and the bold confidence was a young woman dealing with unimaginable pain. Just days before the Olympic trials, Richardson had learned about the death of her biological mother, not from a phone call, not from a family member, but from a reporter's question during an interview. She later admitted the news hit her like a thunderbolt, leaving her grasping for anything to numb the grief. That's when entered the picture. Not performance enhancing, not some elaborate scheme, just a desperate attempt to cope. She called it an emotional panic, a split-second decision that would forever alter her trajectory. And yet on June 19th, she delivered one of the most breathtaking performances of her career, blazing through the 100-meter dash in 10.86 seconds at the U.S. Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon. The nation saw a star, but in the days that followed, the test results came out and the narrative flipped. And you all remember the airport incident, right? American track star Sha'Carri Richardson kicked off a flight after clashing with a flight attendant. She later explained on Instagram that it all started with tone and the way he asked her to get off the phone. She didn't like it. Then, according to her, he stood over her, demanding to check her screen to make sure it was in airplane mode.
Flying not working today.
If you have small
Vacation
handheld
time.
devices, such as cell phones, tablets, and smartwatches, please switch them.
You recorded me, but you jumped in my video, so I caught
If
you
your
because you
electronic
jumped in my
device
video.
falls into your seat,
You're at this point, so I think you should stop.
Things escalated fast. Other passengers jumped in, telling her to stop arguing. Their voices rising, their patience thinning. Cameras came out, the cabin buzzed with tension, and then Sha'Carri was escorted off the plane. Applause erupted, not in support, but in relief, as she kept exchanging shouts with passengers and crew on her way out.
You see him, right? Y'all see him, right? Y'all see him, right? Okay. Okay, but I'm sorry, it's not me.
And here's the part that hit harder than the headlines. When the dust settled, when the clips went viral, her teammates stayed quiet. No Instagram story backing her up. No tweet saying she's family. Not even a simple sending love comment under her post. Just silence. And silence in moments like that speaks louder than words. But the real drama begins here, because the arrest itself, that was just the start. A few days later, things took an even stranger turn. Sha'Carri's boyfriend, Christian Coleman, the supposed victim in this whole mess, suddenly came out defending her. Instead of doubling down on the arrest narrative, he downplayed the entire incident. He said she didn't need to be arrested. He called it a sucky situation. He brushed it off like it was just a bad day.
I mean, like I said, it was just a sucky situation, but she's a human being and a great person. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like we've been able to be like really good teammates like all year.
And that's where fans really started raising their eyebrows. Because let's not forget the entire reason Sha'Carri was even arrested. It was for allegedly putting her hands on him. Yet here he was, brushing it off, almost protecting her, almost trying to make light of something the media was painting as explosive. In the clip, Christian fidgets, avoids eye contact, and stumbles through sentences. He talks about grace, mercy, and self-reflection, but the body language, it screams discomfort. And suddenly the story shifted. This wasn't just about an argument. This was about power manipulation and the uncomfortable truth of watching it unfold in real time. One user summed it up perfectly. His parents raised a great young man. Wishing you all the best. But always remember, young man, we can't save everyone, no matter how we try to see the good in them. Some battles you have to let God and God alone deal with. But then came the bombshell, when police released the full 15-minute arrest video, and what it showed changed everything. It was all there. The deflection, the panic, the victim card. And watching it back, it was not hard to see manipulation written all over it. But what really sealed it? TMZ. They got the CCTV footage, the raw, uncut version, and in that clip, you can clearly see Sha'Carri shove Christian. You can see her in his face, pushing, hitting, trying to stop him from walking away. And Christian? He doesn't lift a finger. He's just trying to leave. So what did Sha'Carri do? She put out an apology video, but here's the problem. It didn't land. In the video, she talks about accountability, reflection, healing. She says she's taking time to get help, but the delivery? Off. She's smiling. She's casual. Like she's telling story time on Instagram Live, not apologizing for DV.
More than anything, definitely a lot of self-reflection, a lot of understanding of not only putting myself in a compromised situation, but somebody that I have a deep care and appreciation for as well is something that holding myself accountable.
Fans immediately called it fake, rehearsed, a PR stunt. And to make matters worse, she followed it up with an Instagram story addressed to Christian. She called him her teacher in unconditional love. She blamed her past trauma. She said her actions came from pain. And again, it felt too clean, too scripted, too safe. Richardson issued an apology to Coleman that read in part, "I apologize to Christian. He came into my life and gave me more than a relationship, but a greater understanding of unconditional love from what I've experienced in my past. Due to my past trauma and pain, I was blind and blocked off to not only receive it but give it. I love him, and to him I can't apologize enough." One fan wrote, "I guarantee that if he had put his hands on her, she would have pressed charges." She says she has a video of that, but no one's ever seen it. Another fan added, "Reverse the roles, and he would have lost everything. So I hope they will hold her accountable, but I doubt they will." And here's where it gets scarier for Sha'Carri. Her sponsors haven't said a word, but behind the scenes, the calls are happening. Brand reps are asking if she can still fulfill her obligations. New contracts are being shelved. Lawyers are quietly circling. Because if there's one thing big brands don't play about, it's image. Think about it. Nike dropped athletes for far less. Sprite and Hyper Rice thrive on clean, inspirational branding. Do they want to be tied to a DV scandal? Probably not. And this silence, it might be the sound of doors closing. So now Sha'Carri is at a crossroads. She's off Team USA. Her sponsors are shaky. Her fans are divided. And that same media that once crowned her the comeback queen is now asking if she's finished for good. Meanwhile, Christian Coleman, he's in a strange position too, publicly defending her, privately dealing with the fallout. His reputation is now tangled in hers. And Sha'Carri herself, silent. No defiant posts, no clapbacks, no "I'll be back" tweets, just silence. Which for someone as loud and proud as Sha'Carri, that might be the loudest statement of all. So what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Does she make a true comeback, owning up to everything and starting fresh? Or is this the end of one of the fastest women in the world? Because here's the truth. Athletes don't just compete on the track. They compete in the court of public opinion. And right now, Sha'Carri Richardson is losing that race. So what happens when a private moment gets caught in a global spotlight? A career stalls, a reputation collapses, and one of the most promising athletes of her generation learns that sometimes it's not your rivals who beat you, it's yourself. Sha'Carri Richardson was once the future of American track. Now, she's ghosting the media, lawyering up, and fighting for the scraps of a career that might never recover. And Christian Coleman? He's left defending a woman who just threw his name and his peace of mind into chaos. The sponsors waiting, watching, ready to cut ties at any moment. And Team USA? They've already moved on. The next generation of sprinters are lining up, hungry, untainted, ready to take the baton Sha'Carri just dropped. So maybe the real question isn't whether Sha'Carri can bounce back. Maybe the real question is, when the world has seen the worst version of you on camera, do you ever really get to run from it? Do you believe Sha'Carri deserves another shot at redemption? Or is this the end of her career for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.